In this New World video, I'm going to show you how you can win invasions. I'm going to show you how to play your team comp, and actually this is not just for leaders, this is also for the solo player going into invasions and understanding how to win an invasion. Let's start off with the team composition. For invasions, the more rangers you have the better, since thrust damage do more damage and the bow and the musket does thrust damage, plus the spear also does thrust damage. So the more rangers you have, the better for an invasion. But let's go over the team composition that you want for each gate. This is the most optimal team comp, but more than likely you won't have this team comp in your invasion, since there's randoms and signing up for invasions and so forth. At the end of this video, I'll go over how to play with randoms. So let's jump into the perfect team comp for invasions. Generally speaking, you want 2 groups at each gate, but the back gate is going to require a little bit more attention. So I'll go over it just in a bit. But first, let's cover the 3 front gates. So for the 3 front gates, you want 1 tank, 1 healer, 1 spear, 2 great axe users and 5 rangers. You need 1 tank to tank the bear, you need a healer, and you need a spear user to apply rend to bosses. And the 2 great axe users is there to throw gravity wells when the Spriggan spawn, or when a brute spawns or a commander, just to slow them down, so you can actually body block these bosses. So for the front gate you will have 2 groups each for a total of 10 members. So I'll go over it again. You want 1 tank, 1 healer, 1 spear user, 2 great axe users and 5 rangers. The rangers are the most important class for all gates. Now let's move on to the back gate. For the back gate you're going to require 2 tanks, 2 ice gauntlet users, 3 great axe users and 6 rangers, for a total of 13 members. The back gate requires more attention since the mobs can split in 2, so it's really important that we have more members at the back gate. We also require 2 tanks since there's a lot of mobs to tank, and we require 2 ice gauntlet users since the ice gauntlet users will stay on the staircase and block all the mobs with ice showers and ice storm and so forth. So the ice gauntlet users on the back gate is very important since they block all the bombers and so forth. So if you're running with ice gauntlet at the back gate, make sure just to stay on the stairs. Do not go off and attack the bosses when they're at the gate. Do your job and stay at the staircase if you're playing ice gauntlet. As you will notice, there are 7 more spots to fill, so there's 7 more members left. So there will be a group of 5 rangers on the repeaters that will be able to rotate. So you place 5 rangers at repeaters, so 3 at the front gates and 2 at the back gates, and all of them can rotate as needed. Also you will have 2 main repair members and 2 secondary repair members. I'll go into detail the responsibilities of the repair members in just a second. So when you're on repair duty, the 2 secondary members will still play at the gates until the 6 to 5 minute mark. They will take repair parts at the beginning of the invasion. Each of them will take 300 repair parts, and at the 27 mark they will take another 100 parts for a total of 400 parts. After the secondary members have 400 parts, the main members will start taking repair parts from the stations until they also have 400 repair parts. After that, the 4 members will take repair parts as needed, but still discuss among each other how many repair parts each member has, so that you can stay even with repair parts. The 2 main repairs are responsible for dealing with the cows that get shot into the fort, blowing horns, and of course repairing. The 2 main repairs start repairing gates from the 50-minute mark, or if a gate is below half HP. You do this not to waste any repair parts. And remember, at around the 6 to 5 minute mark, the secondary repair guys or members will get into the fort and stay at their assigned gate, where they will assist in repairing and also shoot all the cows and so forth. Now that you have an idea how the team comp works and how repairs work, we're going to go on to the roles of the classes. So for the rangers should first focus bombers, siege and bosses. And the role of the great axe users will be to gravity well Spriggans, commanders, brutes, and body block bosses. The role of the spear user is going to be to apply rend to bosses, and of course the role of the healer is to heal and to help body block bosses. The role of the tank is very simple. You will have to bait the charge of the commander, take aggro of the bear, and of course body block bosses. And we've covered the role of the repair duty people, but basically it is to repair gates, shoot cows, slash the bubbles that getting shot into the fort, and of course manage repair parts between all members. You also have the role of the siege. The role of the siege is a little bit complicated, but let me go into detail what to do. Siege should only attack bosses that are targeting gates. If the bosses have aggro on a player or stop attacking the gate, you should switch over to your bow, or else the mob or the boss will aggro back onto the gate. However, the siege may attack the commander and the bear, since they do little damage to the gates but massive damage to players. So if you're targeting a boss like the Spriggan, the Brute and so forth, and it's not attacking the gate, switch to your ranged DPS instead, or else it will re-aggro on the gate. The siege can also do rotates. For example, if somebody calls out a Spriggan or they need help at the gate, the siege can rotate to that gate to quickly help out those people that need some help. Now we're going to talk about callouts, what to call out and when to call out. So what is callouts? Callouts is when you say there's a Spriggan at the gate, a commander, siege and so forth. So the most important callout is going to be for the cow launcher. The cow launcher is important since the two main repair guys are going to have to kill the cows that get shot into the fort. So for example, if there's a cow launcher in the mid gate, you say cow launcher mid gate, and when the cow launcher shoots a cow, you will say cow mid. So the repair guys will know that there's a cow coming through the mid gate, and they will have to watch out for the cow, which they will have to kill. If you didn't know, these cow launchers shoot in mobs, and they damage the fort like the repair parts, the gates and so forth. So you actually lose progress if one of these cows gets shot in and they damage the fort. Also, it's good practice to call out Spriggans, commanders, priest and bear. So all of your members like notice there's a Spriggan and so forth. So for example, if there's a Spriggan and a commander at backgate, you will say Spriggan and commander backgate. And you will usually have a shot caller at each gate calling this. This will also notify the rangers or the siege that they will have to rotate if there's some problem dealing with these mobs. Take note that it will get quite hectic around the 5-minute mark, so calling out how many mobs there is at your gate is important. For example, 2 Spriggans, 4 commanders at backgate will help a lot to deal with it. If you're playing backgate, it's also important to call which gate is being heavily focused. For the backgate, the mobs can split in 2, so for example, if the right gate is getting focused hard by 2 mobs, or 4 brutes or whatever, do call it out since there's only one repair guy at backgate, so he will know which gate to repair as fast as possible. It's also important to call out void destroyers and focus the left eye first and then the right eye. And do not destroy the void destroyer once you've shot out the eyes, since the void destroyer will only respawn if you kill it, plus it's wasted damage. Let's jump into some combat tips for bosses. As you know, or as you don't know, you can body block Spriggans commanders by standing in front of them. Generally, it's best to throw a gravity well on them to slow them, and then you start body blocking these commanders or Spriggans. Also, when you're body blocking these Spriggans or commanders, do not attack, just let your rangers and your repeater guys do damage to them. You don't have to attack them, just body block them and keep them at bay. When you're dealing with brutes, you're going to have to heavy attack the brutes to break their stamina bar. Also, you can gravity well brutes at the beginning before they even charge, so when they just about to get out of the corruption, you can throw a gravity well at them and you can actually kill them right on the spot if you break their stamina bar. Also, the commander, priest and bear is there to kill players, so be very careful when you deal with these 3 bosses. They do a lot of damage to players, so keep your HP as full as possible. Now let's talk about which mobs to focus first. So the first mobs that you're going to focus first is going to be the bombers, spriggans, brutes, priests, commander, and lastly the bear, and of course the little ads that also spawns. So the bombers is really important since they can one-shot gates if they are enough, and they can also kill players just as fast. Usually it will be rangers dealing with the bombers since it's best to deal with them as fast as possible. A note on the bear is that the tanks should always lead the bear away while the other players deal with the mobs or bosses. Now let's talk about the best siege to use in an invasion. So the best siege to use is going to be the ballista. It's good for taking out siege. The repeater, it's good for doing tons of damage against corrupted mobs. And the oil vat is also good to place at the gate since it does a lot of overtime damage. And of course the last best siege is going to be the Horn of Resilient, since it gives you a good buff when there's lots of mobs at one gate and you can just blow the horn and give your players just a little bit of that extra buff to survive. Now let's go into what to buy at the Armory. So if you're a ranger, you can buy Ace of Bullets or Ace of Arrows. Also you can buy Inferno Traps, which is really good. And of course if you're playing on siege, you're going to buy ammo for repeaters and so forth. If you're someone that's going to buy Inferno Traps, you're going to actually learn how to place Inferno Traps correctly. So for each gate you can place 3 Inferno Traps, and for the back gate you can place up to 5 Inferno Traps. If you're going to place Inferno Traps, you want to place 1 at the gate and spread the extra 2 3 meters apart, since when a mob runs over an Inferno Trap it does damage over time. At the back gate you want to place Inferno Traps at the gates, just between the gates, another Inferno Trap, and lastly you place 1 at the staircase. So this will be a total of 5. You can, all in all, you can place a total of 15 Inferno Traps all across the map. So you will notice that there's some extra left just in case somebody mess up in placing Inferno Trap somewhere where they shouldn't place Inferno Trap. Let's talk about your build for invasions. Take in mind that Corrupted take 20% more thrust damage, 30% more arcane damage, and 15% more nature damage. Knowing this, we're going to utilize gems, Corrupted Ward, and thrust damage to do more damage to Corrupted. So the gem and the perk that you want in your weapon is going to be a Sapphire Gem and Corrupted Ward on your weapon. Also, if you can use a bow, a musket, a spear, this will also be beneficial since you can do thrust damage. All in all, if you combine a Sapphire and Corrupted Ward on your weapon, that should be enough to deal with the invasion mobs. If you go into invasion, you should have your Corrupted Trophies, your Corrupted Coatings, Honing Stones, and Attribute Food as well. So let's talk about playing with randoms. So when I say playing with randoms, this means that anyone just signed up for the invasion and you don't have a full specific roster for invasions. So you have no control over who plays in the invasion. What you first have to do is make a random Discord with your server name on it and call it like your server name invasions, and you will have to get everyone on Discord at least. Post it in the army chat to get on the Discord. They don't have to talk, they just have to listen. Then after, you divide the players into a few groups. For example, all tanks at mid-gate, bruisers right side of the flag, mages and rangers left side of the flag, spear users at the podium, and healers at the flag. Doing this, you will have a general idea how many members of each do you have. After this, you simply divide all of the members at each gate. For example, you go to the tanks, you say tank 1, go right, tank 2, go mid, tank 3, go left, and tank 4, go backside. This will allow you to divide all of your members into an even group, allowing you to have more success at defending the invasion and actually winning the invasion. Also, you should have 4 repair guys, 4 main repair guys that you trust. So you tell these 4 members to take repair parts. As I showed you in this video, you should have 4 main repair guys that you trust. Also, make sure to type in the army chat that if anybody takes repair parts, without consent, you will kick them out of the invasion, for this is griefing. If somebody takes repair parts, simply kick them from the invasion and place them on a blacklist and don't allow them again in any invasion of yours. Sometimes you gotta be a monster to make the game fun for other people. Now for some general tips for invasions. If you're on Discord, there should be a shot caller for each gate, which calls for bosses and cow launchers, and these shot callers also tell the players at the gate what to do and what to focus on. Also, if you're playing in an invasion, do not take repair parts if you're not on repair duty. This is seen as griefing and you will get kicked out of invasions or even blacklisted, which you won't be able to get into another invasion again. Also, if you're playing at the gate, do not fight in the corruption. Stay between the crossroads at the gate so you can actually get healed. If you're playing backside, stay near the staircase to funnel the ads all up the stairs and deal with them more easily. And of course, if you're an ice content user, you should always stay on the staircase to deal with the mobs if bosses spawn. If you've liked this video, consider subscribing. I post new New World videos every week.